Have you ever done something so embarrassing you never want to talk about it? Until it turns you into an unexpected hero? Let me tell you about a time that happened to me completely by accident. Let's set the scene. I was living at the Triangle at 45th and Lamar, and I really liked living there. It was the ideal location in a lot of ways. Everything I needed was right there. Gym, coffee shops, restaurants, you name it. The only thing that was less than ideal was one of my neighbors. Let's call her Tina. She was someone I went to grad school with. And although we had a lot of mutual friends, we didn't really have anything in common. She loved to talk about herself and was a quintessential know-it-all. So a conversation with her was mainly listening to her brag. Unfortunately for me, Tina not only lived in the same building, but also on the same floor, something I discovered after moving in. But thankfully, because of our different schedules, me with a full-time 9-to-5 job and her getting her PhD, we rarely bumped into one another. Then, one summer evening, I was coming home from work after a particularly tough day, and I was really tired. My social battery was fully drained. All I wanted to do was crash on my couch, eat some Chipotle, and watch Crash Landing on You, this romantic Korean drama about a South Korean businesswoman falling in love with a dreamy North Korean military man. So realistic, but the thought of enjoying this was getting me through my day. As I'm exiting the parking garage, going towards my apartment, who do I see coming down the hall but Tina? We would have to cross paths for me to get to my place, and I really couldn't do this today. She was far away enough that I could safely assume she hadn't seen me yet. So I did the only reasonable thing I could think of. I turned around and ducked into the first door I could find, the trash chute. I just needed to hide out here for a few moments until the coast was clear. Yeah, it smelled really bad, looked gross, and I felt like a total nut job. But it would be over soon. Then, as I'm standing there, out of nowhere, I hear a muffled voice come from above. I couldn't make out the words, and I was on the topmost floor of the building. The only thing above was the parking garage. Definitely no trash chute there. Was I imagining it? Was God sending me a message? Was this the moment I finally figure out the meaning of life? Or were the garbage fumes messing with my mind? But then, I hear it again. And this time, it was unmistakable. A man's voice saying, "Help!" But where was it coming from? Filled with curiosity, I responded, "Hello? Hello?" The voice responded, "Help me, I'm stuck." "Where are you? Are you in the trash chute?" I asked. "I can't understand your accent," came the reply. "Okay, rude. I'm trying to help you, dude. I don't need this judgment." But time was of the essence. He was asking for help, and I needed to go find him. So I left the trash chute and went up to the parking garage. I looked to see where the trash chute would be, if it existed on that floor, and just saw a giant column. I went up to it and said, "Hello, are you here? I'm the girl from the trash chute." "I'm here," his voice boomed, so clear this time. I go to the other side of this column and I see a door. It had no handles, just a lock. It was one of those janitor's closets. That's where he was trapped, and I have no idea how he even got in there. I didn't know what to do. It was after hours, and the management team would have gone home for the day. So I called 911. I assured him that I had called for help. "I'm so thirsty," he told me. "There are no windows in here. It is so hot." I bet. It's a tiny locked closet on the roof of a parking garage, smack in the middle of a brutal Texas summer. The man's getting cooked in there. Panicking slightly, I run to my apartment to get him some water, praying that the firemen arrive quickly. Thankfully, they were there in less than 5 minutes. although it probably seemed like an eternity to the man trapped inside. They asked me if I was the one who had called, and I told them where he was trapped. They had brought a bunch of keys with them to try to open the door, but no luck. It was time for plan B, take the door off the hinges. That worked, and out came the man. He was soaked in sweat, breathing hard, and squinting at the bright light outside, contrasting the dark closet he had just escaped from. I could see that he was older, with mostly white hair. He had some plastic HEB bags on him and a skateboard. I don't think he lived there. Maybe he didn't have a home at all. Who knows? Either way, I was relieved that he was out. Then, as the firemen were leaving, one of them turned to me and said, "If you hadn't called, he probably would have died in there. You saved his life today." I felt a whole mixture of emotions, from surprised to grateful it had turned out this way. You see, just a half hour ago, I was feeling embarrassed at the extreme lengths my socially selective self was willing to go to. But now, a fireman, someone who literally saves lives for a living, was calling me a hero. It just goes to show, not all heroes wear capes. Some hide in trash chutes to avoid the one person they really don't vibe with. Thank you.